Buenos días. Bonjour. Ohayou gozaimasu. Es lunes. Nous sommes lundi. Getsuyobi desu yo. It's Metacognition Monday, and it is time to talk about how your brain works so that we can learn faster. Today we're going to talk about the forgetting curve. You've already heard me talk about this a lot. So sometimes we call this Ebbinghaus's forgetting curve because this guy, Herman Ebbinhaus, started researching memory loss over time. And he did this hundreds of years ago. Okay, so basically the main thought is that information is going to decay from your brain if you can't relate to it or connect with the information and there's little context and you haven't looked at it in a long time. So here we start off, I teach you something today. Okay, you walk out of my class and immediately it starts to degrade. And next week you're not going to remember anything I said today. Okay. So it turns out that if you can look at the information one time, right here, this is the sweet spot right here, right as it's decaying, you bump it back up to here. Okay? Eventually you get a long-term memory. You don't have to do that. But especially for short-term memory, this is the sweet spot right here, which is why I say, hey, when we're done with class, make sure to look at things one time outside of class within the next 24 hours. Okay? But this is why you'll notice that when I set up my lessons, I set them up so that we learn something, we play with it, and then we'll revisit it, and then we'll add to it, and we keep adding more context to it and stuff. But all my lessons are kind of based on this forgetting curve. Okay, so again, short-term memory is your recent experiences, right? This is where things are encoded when you first learn them, and we want to move them into long-term memory. You're never going to be fluent in a language if things are in short-term memory. You're hopefully not going to be walking around with Google Translate, Bing Translate, ChatGPT all the time when you're in another culture. It's going to embarrass you. First of all, we've talked about that, and secondly, it's not encoded in your memory. You can't have meaningful conversations. Okay, so spaced repetition is our tool. Okay, items are going to fall out of short-term memory very easily, but we look at them during that sweet spot that I just showed you. We're going to try and move them into long-term memory. And the real key, the secret, is to look at them and practice them as they're degrading. It is not worth your while to practice them. Here, let me back up so you can see this again. You practice them when they're up here. Your brain's like, yeah, I already know that. I don't have to encode anything. You practice them when they're at here. Your brain says, oh, I'm learning something for the very first time. And you're burning more calories to get up to here. Okay, so this is the sweet spot right here. Yeah, that's what I just explained. Good for me looking ahead. Okay, you don't want to have to relearn things all over again. I don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste your time. You want to learn as fast as possible, and this is a great technique. Okay, so that sweet spot is, I don't have it quite solid yet. I'm about to forget. That's when you look at it. Okay, so let's look over some stuff and decide if it's spaced repetition or if it's not spaced repetition. Okay, all right, writing a 20-page essay in 2 hours. Is that spaced repetition or not spaced repetition? Absolutely, that's not spaced repetition. When you look at that 20-page essay, in 3 weeks, you're going to say like, oh, who wrote this? I don't remember writing this, right? Oh, look, what luck, I got this one. You have an essay due. You write 1 paragraph a day and you reread everything you've written so far. Spaced repetition or not spaced? Yes, it's spaced repetition. So you're rereading everything you've written and you're pacing yourself. Slow and steady wins the race, right? I'm going to run out of room if I do it this way. That's fine. You can see cramming for a test. Spaced repetition or not spaced repetition? Yeah, obviously that's not spaced repetition. You cram for the test. You stay up till 2 a.m. You take the test. You probably do okay on it. How about next week? Do you remember any of that stuff? No, you don't. So think about it. You've wasted your time. You stayed up till 2 a.m. You got nervous and worried. Okay, so you got more gray hairs now at the age of 16, right? You're nervous and worried, and You lost sleep and you don't remember anything. It was totally not worth your while. Copying over your notes neater after class. And I've told you about my hardest class ever, where all we did was copy over our notes and A++++. Okay, that's all we did. That was the only thing. We didn't even discuss the notes because we had no idea what the teacher was saying. All right, copying over your notes after class. You've walked out the door, and I told you that every time you walk out my door, you're going to forget 80% of what I say unless you look at it one time after class. Okay, so you look at it after class. You're copying it over. It's encoding it into your long-term memory. Flipping through flashcards every day. What do you think? All right, we're going to talk about this in a moment. This is just randomly how I pulled them out of the stack. This one's going to go in not spaced repetition, and I'm going to show you in a moment. Hey, I see it right here. Let's see if I can get it. Yes, I do. Okay, flipping through the hard flashcards every day. All right, remember, let me back up again and show you again. Okay, right here. If you study things up here, your brain's like, I already know that. I don't have to worry about it. This is fine. This is easy stuff. I don't have to encode it because I already know it. All right. So if you're flipping through all your flashcards every single day, some of those flashcards are pointless. Some of those flashcards, you're wasting precious seconds. If you make 2 stacks of flashcards, okay, you got 2 stacks of flashcards. One stack is, I already know these. One stack is, these are the ones I need to work on. And when you get good at this, you can even make 3 stacks. I already know these. But I feel like I'm going to forget them in a few days. And stack number 3 is, I don't know these. Okay? You flip through the I don't know these every single day. And then when you get good, you can flip through the I don't know these every single day. And you can flip through the I think I'm about to forget these. Occasionally, like maybe every 3 days or something. Let me move this part up so we can see. All right, so flashcards are great, but you got to use them the right way or they're kind of pointless. All right, so flipping through flashcards every day, not spaced repetition. Flipping through hard flashcards every day, yes, spaced repetition. Because you're not wasting your time on the easy stuff. Looking over your notes for 5 minutes outside of class. What do you think? Yep, that's the same thing as copying over your notes neater after class. Just looking at them. Just looking at them outside of class. That's going to help you. I'm going to put this on top of here. You won't be able to read it, but you're going to rewind the video. I'm making a video, you can rewind it. All right. Can you see this? I've got so much up here. You know what? Because I've got my screen recording set a certain way. Okay. Do you ever have a class where you take the unit test and then you never refer to that information ever again? Yep, I hate that. I promise you, I do solemnly swear, I will never ever do that to you. That's a waste of your time, all right? You're going to, every single time we have a test, and you know that all my tests are games, okay? We build on it, all right? You're always building on those skills. We're never going to say, okay, you've learned family members now. We're moving on to rooms of the house, and then we never talk about family members again. No, that's part of the reason why we read so much in my class, okay? We're always building on everything you know. So this is not spaced repetition if you do that unit test and never do it again. All right, Duolingo. You know I love Duolingo. Duolingo uses a lot of spaced repetition, okay? And the gold list, either I've taught you how to use or I'm going to teach you how to use. But this is basically like when I told you about making the 2 stacks of your flashcards. It's pretty much the same thing. As you're looking over your list of stuff to learn and you're deciding what's the easy stuff that I can ignore and what's the hard stuff, and you're paring down your gigantic list. All right, so that's the advanced stuff from my book. All right, so today, that's it. There's no assignment associated with this. I just wanted you to think about spaced repetition and start applying it to your study habits, okay? All right, I'll see you on the next assignment.